Assalamu alaikum. That is such a hard letter to pronounce. Oh, and don't even get me started on the qa and the gha, ba, like the ba and qahwa and ghalia. Arabic is such a beautiful language, and my learning journey has been very long and hard, but from learning Arabic and advising Arabic-speaking international students, it has helped me see why Arabic speakers say some of the things that they do in English. So today's tip for success in the United States is common errors that Arabic speakers make in English and how you can fix them and not sound like a noob. But there's a lot of people that will say that pronunciation or how you say words in a language is not the most important thing. It's more important that you are understood in English when you speak, to get things done, to get your point across. And that can be true to an extent, especially when you are working with sounds that are totally new to you. And if you do your best to enunciate or say words clearly, then most likely you will be understood. There are several reasons why pronunciation is important, and one of them is stress, where you put stress on a word. I can give you an example in English of how changing the stress on a word can change the meaning of the word. I am from the state of Missouri. So in the word Missouri, I'm putting an emphasis on the OU, Missouri, right? If we change the emphasis and say misery instead, putting emphasis on the I or the beginning of the word, it changes the word entirely. So this is the word misery in English, which means unhappiness, suffering, or pain. So quite the opposite of the state of Missouri, which is happy. Another example is desert versus dessert, the different area of emphasis. So desert and dessert, emphasizing the first part of the word or the last part of the word. Another example where the word is spelled the same but the emphasis is different and changes the meaning is object. Object, with an emphasis on the first part of the word, is a thing. It means a thing, an object in your home, an object in your classroom, whereas object, when you put stress on the second part of the word, it means to be against something. You're probably thinking they sound exactly the same, and trust me, I know how you feel. In Arabic, this gets me all the time. Words like hammam versus hammam. I don't think I said that right. Didn't get that. But in general, Arabic speakers use less intonation or stress, and this sounds sort of monotone. Questions sound like statements. For example, you like pizza versus you like pizza, and there are no clear end to sentences. You like pizza. Another common pronunciation error is the difference between the B and the P and the F and the V. There is no P or V in Arabic, so a lot of times Arabic speakers will substitute the B sound for a P and the F sound for a V. Parking becomes barking, pool becomes bool, and yes, I've actually heard this one. Poop becomes boob. B and P are pronounced in almost the same place in the mouth, but P is further out on the lips. You can test this by putting a piece of paper in front of your lips, and when you pronounce a P, the paper should move slightly. When you pronounce a B, it will not. P, B. The same is true with F and V. Very becomes fairy, and van becomes fan. You can test this by putting your fingers on your throat. When you say V, you should feel it vibrate a little bit, but not when you say F. V, F. Practice that in the mirror 1,000 times. Another pronunciation error is the letter R. The R is not trilled in English, although it sounds so beautiful to me in Arabic. Rayaha, sayara, abril. It is a flat sound in English. Car, door, America, To pronounce the R, hold your tongue up to the top of your mouth in the middle, but don't touch it. The tip of your tongue tightens slightly when you say the word, like car. Some other common sayings I've heard that make perfect sense in Arabic, but not in English, and are a little funny to hear are, for example, before 5 years. So in Arabic, you would say قبل 5 سنوات. In English, the correct way to say this is 5 years ago. So you need to learn this word ago when you want to talk about something that you started or happened in the past. Another common thing I see Arabic speakers writing in English is a lack of punctuation. Punctuation are things like commas, periods, question marks, apostrophes. An Arabic speaker may write one paragraph in English as one long sentence instead of dividing it up into multiple sentences with a clear start and end. A capital letter also signifies the start of a sentence in English, so every sentence must start with a capital letter. In Arabic, I know there are no capital and lowercase letters like in English. So this is another thing to learn when you are learning how to write in English. Another reason why Arabic speakers may not use punctuation is because in Arabic it's common to use the wow to connect sentences instead of a period. But punctuation is so important because it can actually change what a sentence means. For example, let's eat, Grandpa, versus let's eat, Grandpa. Correct punctuation could save a person's life. So this is a brief overview of some of the common errors that Arabic speakers make when speaking and writing in English. Don't be one of them. Write any questions or comments you have below, and I would love to hear any funny stories that you all have when you pronounce something wrong in English and what happened. Thanks for joining for this week's Friday Tip for Success in the US. I'll see you again next week.